Okay, in this tutorial we're going to go back to layout and we're going to go a little bit further in terms of model preparation. And we're going to be looking at this in terms of creating a still frame of our logo that we'll use in print. Here's where we left off. We basically have a model done. We have our text working nicely, we have our tower model in the background, and we have our surfaces named so that we can use them. And it's important to remember that the idea here is to keep the integrity of the logo, not to take any liberties with it, but to perhaps expand a little bit on the essence of it. So if we're going to send this to layout, once again we can do that by going way up here and send to layout, and here we are in layout and there's the model. So if we're looking at this in perspective view, we can look around it, whatever we want to do, get in on it. And what we want to do is basically give it a little bit of life. So if we go into our surface editor, we can see we can control the face, the non-face, the tower, and right now we've got the face in gold, which is okay for now, and we've got the non-face in green, which are the school colors. And so let's talk about how we can add something to this. First of all, let's go back to the idea of the image map. So for the non-face, we want to add just an image like we did last time. And let's say that we're going to load an image. And let's say we want to give this one a sports theme. We want to put this as an application for something to do with sports. So we can find an image that looks sports related. And we're going to take this picture here, which is a picture of the MU volleyball team. And let's say that's what we're going to start with. So there we've mapped it cylindrically into the background there. And we can see that that's not bad, except that now we don't have the green because their uniforms are favoring the gold. So let's try something else real quick. So we're still with the non-face. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that and remove texture. And I'm going to put that, instead of in the color, into the luminosity. So the image is already loaded. And I can put it into the cylindrical, auto size it. We can find the best image of that. We could try it that way. And looking at this, we can see that something's there, but I think we were on the right track before. So, going back to Surface Editor, we'll go ahead and remove this one. And I'm going to re-add it here. So we get the image of the team. And what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to go to the face, and we're going to make the face, we'll pick that back to green. And let's see if that's a close enough green. I'd say that's not so bad. And as you see, we still have our specularity and our glossiness and our reflection. And why don't we add another image into here, but let's try that with the luminosity. So we put that in there, so it's going to keep the color the same. And I'm going to load an image, and in this case, let's go with a different type of image. Let's go with a football image. And we auto size that. We'll keep it plainer. And that works, but maybe we try a close-up instead. Let's load this image. And looking at this, we're getting there, but I'm not really seeing it yet. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to invert this. Let's say, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove all these. And let's say we make our face gold again. And let's say we put that first image there under planar. And let's say in the non-face, let's say we put some actual action in the background. Let's say we make that cylindrical. And we see what that does. Okay, so I'm actually moderately happy with that so far. So let's say we want to keep that, at least for now. And let's see if we can work on the tower next. In this particular case, I think we want to make the tower a little bit less confusing. We want to make the tower kind of stand out by not having an image in it. So let's keep it white and let's make it glow, shall we? So if we turn the luminosity all the way up, that should give it a nice glow. And I'm also going to, in this particular case, make it a little bit larger. So if I select the tower and I size it up, modify size, and finally we're just going to go ahead and grab our camera and move it in a little bit. Oh, that's rotating. I'll grab our camera and move it in a little bit and rotate it like so. And if you look at it that way, let's go back to the tower for a minute. Take some of that size down and move the tower back. So there, the whole tower is in frame. Maybe just the legs can be cut off a little bit. And finally, let's just move the camera over just a bit. So this will become a specialty logo, emphasizing the gold. And let's see what that looks like. I actually like that, but I think we need to tone down the non-face a little bit because it's getting a little bit distracting. So if we go to our surface editor and let's move that. Let's remove that texture. And let's put that in under luminosity. And let's see how that looks. Okay, and there I think it's a little bit better. I think the name stands out. And one other little quick thing, the logo, the tower, is very white. Now I think that that's not necessarily bad, but if we're going to put it on paper, we may lose some of it. So let's go ahead and go to Surface Editor and just go to Tower. Let's make that also gold. Can't really make it green. But if we make it, well, maybe even a light gold, that will stand up a little bit better. And the other thing we want to do is we want to look at camera angles. Now the nice thing about this camera angle is that we're looking up at it, which makes the logo look great and powerful. We can do even better though. Let's say, for example, we have camera selected and we go to Properties, and let's say we zoom out, which would give the effect a wider angle lens. And you might say, well, what's that going to do? It makes it further away. If after we've zoomed out, we also move the camera in, we can create a kind of a fisheye look. Just out of curiosity, let's see what that would look like. So here, maybe not quite so much, but it does actually create an interesting effect. So let's say we want to modify that a little bit, and so what we can do is we can move the camera make sure we keep it framed properly. And if we make it so that we're not quite on the same angle, and honestly I think I liked it better the other way. And let's say we do the opposite here. Let's move in on it a little bit, and let's go to our camera properties, and let's go ahead and frame the shot. And let's say we're going to go with this. Maybe it's a little bit more distorted than the original, but let's try that. And let's say that this is good enough for now. So we have our tower, and we have our logo, and it's got a slight off-axis look, and I would say that that's reasonably good. So what we're going to do is we're going to save this for a print application. So to do that, we need more resolution, because high definition quality resolution is still not quite good enough for print. So if we go to our render tab and render globals, we're going to go ahead and up that resolution to say 3000 by, let's say, 2000. And we can see, well, maybe a little bit more, say 3500. And you can see that that makes sure that the frame is still accurate. And to make sure, we can scoot our camera in just a little bit more. Make sure that the image is properly framed. And we'll go ahead and hit F9 again. Okay, so here we are. And as you can see, this is a much larger image. Lots of detail, probably more so than we're ultimately going to need, but we're going to keep it this size. Now, if I go into File, Save RGB, I'm going to save that as a PNG 32, which means I get to keep my alpha channel, which means we can put this on any background that we want. And we'll go ahead and save that as Methodist logo for print. And the next chapter will show you how to use InDesign to put that into print.